Math 76, Lesson 10, Sequences and Scales. For this video, we're going to focus more on sequences as opposed to scales. Scales is just another way of measuring things like rulers and thermometers, which I don't actually have a thermometer, and if I did, it would only be usable for one problem, because I could only tell you how to read the temperature in this room right now. So let's go over sequences. A sequence is an ordered list of numbers that follows a certain rule. And certain rules are either in some form of addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, or the more complex sequences will have two rules at the same time. But let's look at this first set of sequences here. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So in this sequence, we'll look at the first number and the second number. What happened from 5 to 10? Well, there's two things I can think of in my mind that happened from 5 to 10. Either we added 5 or we multiplied 5 by 2. So once we've got our two possibilities, we'll go ahead and compare those between the second and the third number, or 10 and 15. So can we get from 10 to 15 if we multiply 10 by 2? No, we cannot, because 10 times 2 would give us 20. But we can get it from 10 to 15 if we add 5. So we found our rule. Our rule is that we add 5 each number. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 5 is 20, plus 5 is 25. Our rule works and it checks out. Now let's look at the bottom one. Here we go from 5 to 10, same thing. We could get there by adding or multiplying. But then when we go to the second and third number, we see the only way we could go from 10 to 20 is if we multiply. So this rule is most likely going to be times 2. So let's test it out. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. 40 times 2 is 80. So the rule for this second set of numbers is multiply by 2. Now let's see how this relates to the type of problems we're going to be seeing in our homework. So let's say we have the following sequence. Let's say we've got 18, 27, 36, 45, and then they want us to find out what the next three numbers in this sequence are going to be. So let's do what we did on the practice, or on the at the beginning of the lesson. Let's look at the first two numbers. How can we make 18 go from 18 to 27? So if it's a bigger number, I gotta multiply or add. I can't think of anything that would multiply 18 into 27, but I do know that if I add 9, I'll get 27. So let's test that rule. 18 plus 9 is 27. 27 plus 9 does equal 36, and 36 plus 9 equals 45. So in order to get to the next number, all I have to do is take 45 and add 9. 5 and 9 give me 14. I carry the 1, and I got 54. So the next number is 54. To get the second, or the next number, I go ahead and I add 9 again, but to the number, I add 9 to 54. 4 plus 9 is 13, carry the 1, and 5 and 1 is 6, so the next number is 63, and then to get the last number, you guessed it, we're going to add 9 again. 63 plus 9, 3 and 9 is 12, carry the 1, 6 and 1 is 7, 72. So my next numbers are 54, 63, 72, and that would be my answer. Let's try one more sequence. Let's see here. Let's say we've got 1, 2, maybe we'll do 2 more. Maybe I'll put in a trick sequence for you, see if you guys can figure it out before I solve it. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 8, and we have to figure out the next 3 numbers. So from 1 to 2, I could either add 1 or multiply 1 by 2. So let's test those two rules on 2 to 4. If I add 1 to 2, will I get 4? No. But if I multiply 2 by 2, I do get 4. So this rule here is to multiply by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So now I have to take 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And then I'm going to take 16 times 2. 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 and 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so 32. And then I have to take 32 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, so the last number is 64, and I've got my last 3 numbers. Now I'm going to go ahead and come up with a trick one for you guys and see if you guys can figure this one out before I do. Poof, and like magic, I've got a new sequence. Now this one is going to look a little bit strange, because we look at our first two numbers and we say, okay, we went from 12 to 10, so we must be subtracting, right? So 12 minus 2 equals 10. But then we go from 10 to 14, and that rule doesn't work because there's no way that we can subtract 2 from 10 and get 14. How do we get a bigger number? So I'll let you guys think about this for about 20 seconds. I'll see if you guys can figure out the answer. Or, actually we'll do this. If you want to try to figure this out on your own, go ahead and hit pause right now. If not, keep watching and I'll show you a solution right now. But if you want to solve it on your own, hit pause now. Okay, so if you didn't hit pause, let's go ahead and talk about the solution here. So our first number, we lose 2, right? But then that doesn't work. That rule doesn't seem to follow a trend. It seems like we've got a scattering of random numbers over here. So let's see if we can keep track of what happens. So from 12, and we're going to write all the possibilities between each of these numbers. So from 12 to 10, it's possible that we minused 2. Now from 10 to 14, the only thing I can think of that would work would be if we added 4. Now let's go from 14 to 12. How did we get that number? It looks like we subtracted 2 again. And then if we go from 12 to 16, the only way we could get that is if we added 4. And then from 16 to 14, they subtracted 2 again. So this sequence is actually a pair of sequences. The pair of sequences would be subtract 2, add 4. Subtract 2, add 4. So to find the next number, we have to figure out where we are in the sequence. We just subtracted 2, so for the next number, we would have to add 4. So we'll take 14. If we add 4 to 14, we get 18. So that'll be our next number. So we've completed another pair of sequence. Now, if we just did plus 4, now we have to do subtract 2 again, which means that the next number will be 16. 18 minus 2, 16. And then if we just subtracted 2 to finish the sequence, we have to add 4. So the last number, 16 plus 4, would be 20. Now this one's a little more advanced. This is something that you won't see in your homework for a little bit, but I thought it'd be a fun way to introduce the idea of multiple or complex sequences. If this one gave you trouble, have no fear. We don't get tested on this type of sequences until I think into the second or third quarter. So for now, just make sure you understand these simple addition, subtraction, or multiplication sequences, and we'll be tackling stuff like this later on. If you guys have any questions, let me know on the school's website, and I will see you in class.